Welcome to Kumari Pallavi 19 virtual interview. I am here with a GIS official at RINUP, a leading NGO of Assam, and also a research scholar at the Rainforest Research Institute of Jorhat. So he will be sharing today his storytelling, his experiences in the field of GIS and wildlife. I am really excited about today's conversation, excited about all the important knowledge that will be exchanging. GIS is very important in today's world. It has its varied applications in wildlife, decision making, information generating, etc. So it stands for Geographic Information System that store, analyze a varied spatial and geographical data. So if you are interested in GIS wildlife, please watch this video till the end. Let's welcome Mr. Abhishek Sharkar. Sir, welcome you to this session of interview. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Pallavi.
Moving on to the first question, we would like to know your journey from childhood till now, including education, where you were brought up.
Okay, so yeah, that will be a long track. Basically, I am from Kolkata, but I have been born and brought up in a defense background at Air Force Station Digaru, and I did my schooling from Kendriya Vidyalaya Digaru, while my bachelor's was in biotechnology from Guwahati, and then I moved forward to do my master's after a gap of like 3 years, because after bachelor's I was like I took a bit of sabbatical to try other things and to know which way will be better for me. So in the time being, I just stuck to teaching in a school. Then I tried my luck working in SMS movie industry as well as a content writer. Then I thought, I guess it's better to do my masters right now. And since my early life, I was very much interested in wildlife. So I had some contacts in Demoria College, Khetri, where I used to play as well as a footballer. Then there some lectures they told me about this course, eco restoration course, masters. So I joined there, and it was a nice experience there, because I learned about the basic workings of the environment and how we can do our bit in saving it. And then after my masters were over, I tried to work at different places to gather much more experience on our field. Like I worked in Bangalore at IISc Bangalore for a PhD project, and that was where I thought about doing PhD, because earlier after my masters I thought about going for teaching only in lecturership and all. But there in Bangalore it was a whole different environment, and so the exposure I got there, like how the ecologist and environmentalist work, that intrigued me. So then and there I thought about joining PhD, and after that I started opting for sitting for different PhD entrance exams, like in Assam University and GATE as well, and UGC NET. Then luckily I got in at Forest Research Institute, Dehradun. So basically that is from where I am doing my PhD right now, and the research center is Rainforest Research Institute at Jorhat, where my guide is also working. So most of my research is based from there, and I am working at Amchang Wildlife Sanctuary, and I am looking at the various ecological factors of the sanctuary. So that is how it has been so far.
It is really interesting to know about it. My next question is, how did you get into this job?
So actually, when I was trying to look at different places to work after my masters before joining Bangalore, then I was looking at different organizations and places where they taken interns and volunteers from our field, like the ecologist and environmentalist. So then I pondered upon this organization, Aranyak, it is a pioneer organization in Northeast Indian states that has been working in wildlife conservation since late 80s. So they have huge experience. So I have been following them, and I used to get updates about their vacancies and all through YETI, that is Young Ecologists Talk and Interact Forum, as well as their social media platforms. So from there I came to know about this opening on GIS, their GIS department. So I sat for the interview, and coincidentally the interview was on my birthday, and that is when they told me that I got selected for the job. So yeah, I got some good news on my birthday only.
Do you feel your education prepared you to work as a GIS official? Type of qualification required for this post?
So basically, the first thing that you need to know is a basic understanding of the workings of nature. So that is what we have been having since our early days, because just few years back this bikes and mobile phones, they have come up, but before that we had nothing to entertain ourselves. So all we had was nature and sports. So yeah, so I had a good understanding of nature since my earlier times. Then my guide, my supervisor, PhD supervisor, so he's an expert in remote sensing. So yeah, I learned few things from him. And if you are interested in GIS and remote sensing, and you know how to do some image classifications, land use, land cover change detections, and things like that, the basic remote sensing stuff, then you can work for the geospatial GTAD department where I am working right now. So yeah, if you have an experience in remote sensing, well and good, but even if you don't have any experience and you are willing to learn, and just the basic stuff of remote sensing, then my team members are more than happy to help take forward their whatever they know, and teach the ones who are joining recently. They were very patient with me. They taught whatever they know, and so yeah, I'm learning and doing my work.
Role of Aranyak in this case?
Yeah, these days, so I guess you attended that talk that day on Environment Day. So there I mentioned about this the role of remote sensing in ecological restoration or wildlife habitat restoration. So basically, remote sensing and GIS, using these two techniques, our department, we try to figure out what corridors the wild animals use, so that we can go forward and manage the areas properly, as well as we can demarcate the boundaries of various important areas, like important bird areas, wildlife sanctuaries, national parks, protected areas and unprotected areas likewise, based on the species of concern. Okay, so just on the Environment Day only, a new national park was inaugurated. So things like that, that is what we do. We help the policymakers to decide which areas will be important. based on a specific species of concern. So yeah, that is what we do.
What skills are you developing in this position?
Now, most of my work involves collection of data from the field, as well as using that data for further image classification in remote sensing, as well as writing the report for the policymakers to understand what these analysis that we do, how it can be helpful for the work that they are supposed to do. Okay, so I am learning land use, land cover analysis, change detection, and if you have some idea about remote sensing, so you must know that there are various ways to do image classification for land use, land cover. Like there is supervised classification, there is unsupervised classification, and then there is the hybrid classification. Now supervised and unsupervised classification, it takes just a few minutes. Like for a large national park like Kaziranga National Park, you can do the LULC of one image just in like half an hour or 45 minutes, something like that, if you use supervised or unsupervised classification. But the thing is, it is not much accurate. It gives a bit vague results. So earlier everyone used to use these two methods only because they are easy to use, and it doesn't take much of a skill set. But here in Aranyak we are using a different approach to LULC classification, which is highly accurate, and we are getting very good results using this method. So yeah, I have learnt this technique here, which is hybrid classification, where we use visual classification as well as supervised classification and integrate the results of both the techniques. So that gives higher accuracy to the results. So if there is some error in other kinds of classification methods, then we can rule those errors out using our method. So I am doing this LULC classification, as well as I am doing field work for various projects. Just a few months back, we have finished the work for a project from Pollution Control Board. It is a bit confidential, so I cannot explain more about that unless and until the report is out from the Pollution Control Board side. So we were working on that. We were doing some demarcation thing. We were making a map for them. Other things that you can know only after the report is out. Then other than that, we have been doing some tiger and rhino conservation work, where we collect the land use and land cover data so as to know which areas will be suitable suitable for their as their current habitat, and what is the state of the land use, land cover in Manas as well as Kaziranga National Park.
What are your priorities in Aranyak?
See, when I opted for doing PhD in forest ecology and climate change, then from that period only, after choosing my supervisor, I got some interest in remote sensing. So I was very interested in knowing the workings of the whole process. So by joining Aranyak, my basic aim was to learn as much as possible, because they were doing some very nice work. Like if you look at the maps that they have prepared on river flood inundation works and rivers of the Northeast India, as well as various maps prepared by the organization, you can see the quality of work that they have been doing. So I wanted to learn more about how to integrate those qualities and implement it in my PhD work, as well as my further work. If there are higher prospects in the job only at Aranyak, then obviously I will try to move forward with this organization only, because wildlife conservation is like it is my priority. So basically I have just two things that are in my mind. Either I will move forward in this line, that is at Aranyak, working for either at GTAD or in any way possible. If possible in our department only, because I have had some good bond with my colleagues, so here itself. But if not here, then I will try to teach at any college or university, because that is also what I have been wanting to do since a very long time, and I love teaching. So whatever I learn in Aranyak, I will try to use it in the organizational work itself, or if not here, then in some other university or college.
What interests you about the field of GIS?
There is not just one thing that attracted me. It was GIS. There are many things. So basically, when I was in Bangalore, we were doing some study on the behavioral ecology of male rock lizards, like how they react to the presence of other males and other females. So in that project, I got some insight on the workings of remote sensing and GIS, where my seniors who were working there, even though I had no idea how to do anything, I just came to know from them that GIS and remote sensing can be used in wildlife conservation. Earlier all we had was theoretical knowledge, but from there I learned how to integrate the practical knowledge also. So from that was the beginning of my interest. After that, when I joined this Rainforest Research Institute, there I interacted with my PhD supervisor, and since he is also a specialist in remote sensing, so luckily our interests matched, and now even for my PhD, most of my part includes the remote sensing and GIS. So these it is very interesting, you are not going at that particular place, but you are taking data remotely from that place. So it is time, it takes less time, that is very time efficient, as well as very cost efficient as well. So it has high prospects in the wildlife conservation world, and that is why I have had good interest in this.
Tell me about a challenge you face.
It's been just a few months since I have joined the organization, and because of this corona epidemic, I haven't had much time in the office also, because most of the time either I am in the field or there is some other work, or there has been lockdown since the last month only. So I have not faced any challenges as of now, but in case of wildlife conservation, there will be some challenges, I'm sure of it, but as of now I haven't faced any challenges.
Now I would like to ask you, how do you manage your PhD work with your professional life?
Well, that is a very difficult question. So see, my professional life, it starts from 9:30 a.m. and finishes at 5:30. Okay, so for my field work, my PhD work, I go to the field early morning at 5, and then come back, take 10 to 15 minutes rest, like I come back at 8:30, and then again I go for my professional work. Now whatever data I collect during the day for my PhD, I input that data at night if I have any energy left, which most of the time I don't have. So I use Sundays or any other holidays for data entry or any other work for my PhD, and just the working days are for my professional life, and the rest all the time is either for my personal some other work or for my PhD.
Say something about your PhD in Rainforest Research Institute, Jorhat.
I got enrolled at Rainforest Research Institute, FRI Dehradun, on 2018, and from there I have been working at Amchang Wildlife Sanctuary, which is situated at the fringes of Guwahati city. Okay, so there what I need to study is the spread of invasive plants, because during my initial talks with the forest officials, they told me that the number of invasive species and their spread has increased a lot since the last couple of years. So I try to study about that, as well as my work also includes carbon stock estimation, since the assessment of carbon has been very important these last couple of decades due to the concept of climate change, and how trees are important in this capturing the carbon dioxide from the environment. So that is why I used this as a topic of my PhD research, so that we can know the ecosystem service that has been provided by this sanctuary. Like, we know that there is a sanctuary, even most of the people don't even know there is Amchang Wildlife Sanctuary near Guwahati. Most of the people are unaware of that, and even those that know about the sanctuary know about the what we are getting from the sanctuary. So if we know about the ecosystem value, like the monetary value, how important the sanctuary will be if we remove the trees, the soil, and we do construction work on them, then what are we losing? Like, how much carbon in compensation we are releasing to the environment by cutting the trees. That work will be done by my PhD. So in addition to that, I am also trying to study about the land use land cover change of the whole sanctuary in and around it, because the sanctuary has been in reports since early 2017 because of encroachment issues. Now Guwahati is expanding at a very fast rate. So if we get to know like how much we are what land uses are changing, how much there is construction going on, in which parts there is construction going on, in which parts there is encroachment, in which part like the wetlands are decreasing, in which part the area under forest is decreasing, then we can tell the forest officials that yes, these parts need conservation efforts, so kindly do something about it. And so I am trying, using my PhD research, I am trying to make a guideline for the forest officials so that they can move forward and use the suggestions from my research.
According to you, how important is GIS application in today's world?
Okay, see, GIS is important in any field that you pick, like for urban planning. Yes, so if you have an open area and if you have an industrial area and there are lots of places that has been damaged because of the effluents from the industry, so that area will be deemed unsuitable for any other use. But if we use that area, if we use remote sensing, then remote sensing and GIS, we can find out those areas and use those areas for construction purpose, so that none of the wildlife areas and forest areas are not cleared out for construction. That is for urban planning. In addition to that, you can also use GIS remote sensing for geographical works. Just a few days back, there was an incident of a number of elephants being killed due to the this thunderstorm in Nagaon district. So we can use remote sensing and GIS to know what was the condition of that area before, like whether it was the thunderstorm only that killed the elephants, like what was the weather like, then what was the situation of the cloud, what was the cloud cover, and things like that. So that is also one way. Then wildlife conservation, obviously, like I already told you about wildlife conservation. Then basically these are the ways in which remote sensing and GIS can be really helpful.
Which programming language is the most valuable for GIS specialization to know?
There are various softwares that you can use for GIS applications. Okay, there is ArcGIS, there is QGIS, there is Saga. There are different platforms, but see, you don't need the knowledge of any programming language if you want to do this GIS work. I don't have any prior knowledge in programming and coding. If you are planning to do the work at the platform called R, okay, there's a platform called R which is also used for mathematical modeling and stuff like that. So you can also prepare maps in R. There you will need coding. Okay, then there is another platform called Google Earth Engine. There you will need JavaScript. So basically, if you want to go into GIS and remote sensing, it is not necessary to learn coding and this language, computer languages. Even if you don't have any prior knowledge, you can do GIS applications using platforms like Arc or QGIS. I'm forgetting some other. Okay, you can also use Google Earth, not the engine part, the Google Earth Pro. So these things you can use if you don't have knowledge of programming languages.
Is there any future career plans to add up which you have told earlier?
Future career plans, since my earlier times only, I have been such a person that I just go with it. I have been interested in wildlife conservation since a long time. Now, since I have been associated with this organization that has been doing wildlife conservation, so first thing, I have been getting lots of exposure from this organization since the day I have started working there, because the chairperson, who is Bibhav Kumar Talukdar, he is the president of Rhino Conservation of Asia. So you can easily see the kind of impact that the organization has. So we have people who are in very important positions across the globe. So yes, so if I keep on going within this organization only, maybe someday I will be like them, who has some good ties, and I can do my bit on wildlife conservation and do some other studies on different wildlife species, important species, and if not that, I have been trying since a long time to get in at some college or university using UGC NET. So if I get some chance, then I will try to get in at a college, because lecturership is also a priority for me. So between these two professions, whatever comes better, and better only, whatever comes better for me, I will choose that.
What other works keep you active besides your duty?
Even when I am bored with this desk works, I can never get bored with the field works, because I am a birder. I like birding a lot. So even when I am not working, I am working for wildlife ecology, because whenever I am bored with the desk job, I go out and look out for the birds that are around us. I click their pictures and I try to understand how they are behaving. And yeah, I've been even compiling a checklist of birds of the institute where I've been doing my PhD, which is in its final stages. So within 1 or 2 months you will see a publication from my side on the birds of checklist of birds for RFRI campus. And in addition to that, I'm very much interested in poetry as well as writing. So content writing and poetry is also like a very good hobby for me. So these are the things that keep the sanity alive. Yeah, but all of them are connected, so not much of a difference.
We have reached to the end of this session. Any suggestion you want to give us?
See, any suggestion that I want to give to my juniors, that includes you as well, is that if you have enrolled into the course for your interest in environment or ecology or wildlife, then it is not necessary that you will get everything on your plate.
Thank you so much, sir, for your presence in this interview session. You have imparted a lot of knowledge about your field, and this will definitely inspire many youths who are interested.
Thank you very much, Pallavi.
Like watching such type of content, then don't forget to subscribe to my channel, hit the bell notification so that you can get notified every time I upload a video. See you soon with a new video. Till then, thank you.